Welcome everyone to this EDB webinar. We will wait a few minutes for more people to get in, and then we will start the session. Thank you for your patience. Please wait a few more minutes. Ashish, shall we start now? Shall we start now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to EDB's webinar. Can you show the welcome slide, please? Yeah, thank you so much for signing up for this webinar today. This is, before we start, we just like to go through some housekeeping items. This session is being recorded and the slides and recording will be made available after the session. If you do have a questions for the speaker, please enter it in the question box that you can see on screen, and we will answer all questions after the presentation. We will also be sharing some information about EDB and Postgres at the end of the session. So now, I also like to introduce our speaker, Ashish Vashi, who is EDB's Senior Software Architect. So thanks to technology, Ashish is based in Pune and I'm based in Singapore. I'm Violet Seah from the APJ marketing team. So thank you once again. And before we start the session, we have a poll for you. I will launch the poll now. Do share your answers with us. Okay, in this poll, we are asking, how do you monitor Postgres today? Select one of the following: EDB Postgres Enterprise Manager, Prometheus and Grafana, Datadog, custom scripts, or others. I'll give you a few minutes to complete the answers. Okay, I think we have got the answers now. So I will stop the poll. Okay, Ashish, what I found is that the majority, 45%, are using EDB Postgres Enterprise Manager, and about a quarter, 25%, are using custom scripts, and another 25 others. Just a very small numbers are using Prometheus and Grafana, 4%, and Datadog, 4%. So are you surprised with the answers?
It's it is a bit surprising because Postgres and PAM is. I was hoping of PAM has a majority of the votes, but yeah, it's okay. It
Okay.
gives me a chance to go through the PAM and what PAM can do.
Yeah. Also, I think because people are just still coming in, I can see the number rising. So nevertheless, we do not want to waste any more time. So without further ado, over to you, Ashish, to take us through this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Violet. Hey guys, before I start my agenda and everything, let me just introduce myself. I'm Ashish Vashi. I'm associated with Enterprise DB from last 14 years, and um, uh, so I'm one of the committer of the PG admin, and I'm also associated with PAM from last 10 years. So um, welcome to so this I will go through the so let me just go through the agenda now. So I'll give a brief idea about what introduction of the PAM and what PAM can do, how do PAM do the performance monitoring, database, how can you do the database tuning, and how can you use tuning wizard to do the database tuning, and use the performance diagnostic tool for analyze your long running queries. And so performance optimist uses the ADB weighted extension of Postgres. So I will also go through that and just give you a brief idea of how ADB weighted works. And then I will actually show you the how you can do certain things, how to use the tuning wizard and perform diagnostics through PAM. I hope you will like it. So let's start. So what PAM is? So as I said, PAM is Postgres Enterprise Manager. So as the name suggests, it is an enterprise management system which allows you to monitor and manage the database servers, specifically Postgres and Enterprise DB. Enterprise DB. So you can manage each and every aspect of your database directly through single console, and you can create database objects, you can delete the database object, you can perform certain maintenance tasks, you can take a backup, restore, you can do all aspect of the database which can be done through console directly through GUI. And so PAM is a web application, so you don't have to go to the actual machine and do those operations on your own, but you can do that from the remote location, and you can manage all your database console through it is a central console. So PAM maximize the resources to do the monitoring, and it collects the status of the particular target objects, like the machine, it's the virtual machine, and Docker containers and everything. And it can also check whether the database is running perfectly or not. It collects a lot of statistics for for doing the performance monitoring, and you can monitor all of them on a single console, as I mentioned. And you can also perform some of the operations using scheduled task, or you can use you can take the backup, restore directly through the console, so that it reduces the administration task. And all of those can be done through the directly UI. So yeah. So so how exactly what PAM can do? So basically PAM can collects and stores the performance metrics and the states of the target data, as I mentioned. It also monitors the overall health of the system. If there is some violation in a violation in terms of, you have set some threshold, and that can be you will get alerts for that, and you can have you can get email, you can get SNMP traps, you can notification, you can also integrate your Nagios or inbuilt Nagios with the PAM, and yep. So all things can be done through single PAM console. So as I mentioned, we have already integrated other monitoring tools like Nagios, and we have exposed REST API for that, so that you can maximize your automation directly through PAM, and you can do certain operation monitoring, specifically monitoring aspect of your data directly through PAM, and you can do those alerting and everything through REST API. We are also planning to expose the webhooks so that we can so that you can get your data, get your notification on third-party applications directly through Slack and Slack, or you do have webhooks endpoints. You will get those alerts directly into third-party libraries. But again, that is in our roadmap, and hopefully that would be available in sooner or later in the end of the year. We are planning to do that by end of the day. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully it will be there. And apart from that, what PAM can do is it can allows you to perform the diagnostics. You can do the SQL. You can, so basically you can create the run the execute the queries like pgadmin, and you can directly get the output. You can analyze the explain plans from there. You can tune the queries using that. And so PAM also integrates a lot of PAM to EDB tools within from PAM. So you can do the replace customer primary and the secondary, and with a secondary, and also we used to do a deploy software. You can do that using running through batch script and everything. So that allows you to do different things. So PAM has inbuilt alert manager, which is allowing us to set the threshold on a key performance metrics, and when the threshold is violated, you will get the alert for that, and that alert can be notified using email, SMTP, and SNMP, and it can be any third-party library which you integrated based on the REST API or Nagios. Apart from that, it allows you to, so one of the striking feature of PAM is it allows you to customize the, create a custom monitoring. So so basically PAM uses a term called probe. So basically what probe is a set of performance metrics monitored by PAM, and those are collected at the same time using PAM. So probe allows you to so you can define your own probes, you can define your own alert template, so that you can define different alerts on different monitoring target. So that is one of the striking feature of PAM. You can also define your own dashboards and charts based on the monitoring data. Okay. Before we move into something more about PAM, let me just show you what, or let me just give you an idea where PAM exactly stands. So if you look at, there are basically two aspects of it, monitoring and alert, and one is management and uh, administration. Uh, AWS CloudWatch and Prometheus Grafana, Datadog, all those are really helpful for monitoring the your Postgres instance. But when you want to manage the and administration, do the administration, that's where pgadmin and Toad, Datagrid, all those kind of administration tool will help you. But PAM stands between that. PAM allows you to do monitoring and administration from the single console, and you don't have to go to the other tools for doing those operations. So that is the advantage of using PAM. Okay, so how PAM, so basically how PAM really works. So PAM involves basically three main components where PAM server is basically a database, shared database where is used as a storage, and it has its own PLPG SQLs, uh, uh, PLPG procedures and functions, which allows you to do different monitoring operations, and management of operations and creating the charts and everything is done through those operations. And uh, so that is the job of so, PAM server also keeps the current snapshot of your all metrics, and it keeps the historical data of your all metrics. So uh, so that is the job of PAM server. Then next comes is the web server, where so user can connect to the database server using the web server through browser, and they can display different performance dashboards where you can see the different metrics and what is the performance over the period of time, how your system was doing, how your operating system was doing. Uh, as I mentioned, all aspect of database monitoring is done through PAM. We also collect some of the operating system metrics through PAM as well. Um, so, so all your administration operation can be done through that web application. The the most important part of that is the third component is the PAM agent. PAM agent is actually a lightweight component which connects to your monitoring database and collects the statistics and push it over to the database, the central console where all the data is stored. And PAM agent is also responsible for doing your scheduled job, sending the alerts, processing the alerts, uh, sending all kind of notifications and everything. So PAM agent is one of the most important aspect of your the PAM server. Okay. So without wasting much time, what PAM really monitors in terms of performance. So as I mentioned earlier as well, uh, PAM monitors all kind of data database metrics which is required your database to work perfectly or will perform well. It collects 47 metrics for operating system, and those are collected as a 10 probes. So those are, you can see the CPU usage, disk mesh info, you can see the how many disk space, IO analysis, load average, memory usage, metro statistics. Apart from that, for database in server or the cluster itself, we collect a lot of information like background writer statistics, what are blocks, block session information, what is the database sizes, what are the database statistics, what are the table statistics, what are the streaming replication database conflicts, session info. We uses the PG state activity to we collect those information every regular interval. and interval. And it also collects vol archive status and everything. So for database level, we collect all the index statistics, function statistics, table statistics, table IO, and table bloat, right? And for schema, we to get the just get the idea what is your schema of the system. It collects the foreign keys, functions, indexes. It just collects the names of those so that we can identify the while analyzing itself over the period of historical keep the historical data so that we can identify certain object work exists at particular point of time. Okay, so how do you do database tuning? So before we move to the database tuning, so to work your data Postgres works really well. There are two things that you can do. One thing is pre-analysis. How you can make your database works really well. You can tune your database well so that it performs optimally and uses the existing resources optimally. So for that, PAM allows. For that, PAM allows allows two types of tuning. One is instance tuning and the schema tuning. Basically, instance tuning is your to maximize your hardware or the existing hardware. You might want to tune your database using tuning wizard, where it allows you to change the Postgres configuration based on the available memory on your system, and it gives you it will advise you to different Postgres configurations based on the available memory and the shared memory and shared memory. Next, you can also use the Postgres expert, which advises you on different aspect of your security advisor. You can do the similarly tuning wizard. It can also give you some information on Postgres parameters. It allows you to it gives you more information how many database connections are available or not. Those kind of advisory can be done through Postgres expert. One of the key feature is a capacity planning. Basically, it so Postgres gives you so all the data that is collected based on the collected by Postgres allows you to do the capacity planning so that it uses the linear analysis algorithm to find out the overall how would you really require another resources after a certain period of time. That can be decided by this capacity manager. This allows you to just do the capacity planning and give you idea of how much resources you will require after a certain period of time, or after 5 years down the line of 5 years, what would be the consumption of your database, how much it is growing over the period of time. Again, those can be based on the linear analysis based on your historic table. So those may change over the period of time based on your usage. Similarly, you can also tune your database based on your workload. And first of all, you might want to do, so for workload schema tuning, you might want to do normalization. You might want to do, you want to make sure that your partitioning, you have done the initial, use the maximize the partitioning of Postgres, you use the partitioning well. That also comes into normalization. After those are before you face some issues, right? These are the things that you do before doing a new while planning the database. Once you have the database running, and after if you are facing some issues after some certain period of time, you might want to do again analysis why it is really happening and why your system is taking load after certain period of time or a particular period of time. And that's where SQL Profiler comes into picture, where it basically creates a traces of your query execution, and it collects all kind of statistics from while running that query, and it also collects all the executive explain plan used by that query at that particular point of time, because we all know that while running the system itself, you may have a different explain plan while you are developing and on a single system, single session, and you may have a separate explain plan during at the execution time because of the certain parameters of the Postgres planning optimizer. So that's where SQL Profiler comes into picture. You can also do schema tuning. So basically, okay, SQL Profiler works gives you overall statistics, but if you want to really see what is happening at the each and every interval, that's where performance diagnostics comes into picture. So Postgres 9.6 has introduced a new feature called new columns, which they weight type and weight event and weight event type. So those gives you information whether the actual whether the query is actually being executed at that particular point of time or not. So whether the system is really busy working on waiting for some operations to happen, or is it really executing the queries? So if it is executing the queries, there you won't find any wait events. But if it is actually waiting for some other operations to happen within the database server, then it waits for that event to happen. Like it is reading some data from the IO from the disk. It is waiting for some data structure from to be used by other similar queries, so that they have internal logs. So those kind of data can be analyzed using performance document. So to be honest, performance based works when you have a very long running query. So it allows you to analyze your analytical queries a lot better, because you cannot really collect. So again, as I said, those data is available at a particular point of time. So we need to create a sample of that, and because to create a sample for that particular query, we need to run that query after a regular interval, and as per Postgres recommendation, it is not really good to running that continuously. So for EDB wait events, we execute that query, probe the probe state activity every 1 second, and we collect the wait events and wait event types, and wait event types, and those samples are used for analyzing the whole performance of the query, and you will realize that what that query was doing during that particular point of time. I will give you some more idea about that when giving the demo. So tuning with so before moving to performance statistics, let's again go through the tuning wizard. So as I mentioned again earlier as well, tuning wizard allows you to review the database server installation and gives a recommendation for set the configuration parameters, and it will help you tune your database based on your workload and the utilization. So if your system, so it allows you to gives recommendation based on your usage. So if your using that machine as a dedicated system only for that database server, or whether it is a developer machine where you would also like to do certain operations, or it can be a workstation where multiple data servers are running, like on one side you are running a web server like Apache or something like that, and on the other side you are using database server on the same system. So that defines your machine utilization and workload, whether you want to run that operations for OLTP or next, or you really want to run the analytical data a lot. So that's where database warehouse comes into picture. So a tuning wizard gives you advice on this following parameters, basically, which are mostly related to memory, and how to maximize this parameters for your operation. So it allows you to give advices on effective cache size, maintenance works maximum wall size, minimum wall size, random page cost, and shared buffers, wall buffers, work mem. Right, mostly all of them are related to memory, and some of them are also related to uh, streaming replication, how to maximum utilizing your streaming replication, where you can keep your wall and everything. So let's again go to the performance diagnostics. So as I mentioned again, what performance diagnostics is, it basically when your query is running, right, any active query is running in a session, that session might be utilizing your CPU, or it might be actually waiting for internal event, and that's where wait events comes into picture, and that's it is available in the pgstate activity view itself. So there are 9 types of wait event types, which is lightweight lock. So basically, lightweight lock is lock on an internal database structure, and which is utilized by the Postgres to do the support you the automatic operation. And a lock is basically where user actually locks up your table and do this, use that table for a write or read operation. Based on that, it has a different kind of locks: exclusive lock, read lock, shared lock, or something. All kind of locks are present there. So you will see those logs there as well. Buffer pin, basically it is waiting for buffer to utilized at the startup time. Then some activity is happening in the background. Some extension is using your extension is doing some operations at that particular point of time. That also is listed down in the wait events. Your client is writing some data. Just take an example: if you're doing copy to or copy from, if you say copy from, then your client will be writing use data on your database server. So it is quite possible that you may have this kind of operations as well. Then also the second is client read, where client is actually reading the data from which is generated by the results. If the data is too big, it is quite possible that your query is actually waiting for the client to read the whole data before it completes its execution. Then Postgres also support IPC, that is inter-process communication. Postgres itself is a process-based architecture, so all the some of the background processes works simultaneously together to do the whole operations, and so they are waiting for other operations done by the IPC. Just take an example: if I'm doing parallel query, if I'm doing some query which using parallel mechanism of Postgres, one one worker is already completed the work and and waiting for other worker to do his own work, then that comes into IPC. Then something called timeout UV. So PG supports different timeouts like PG sleep, or there are other small other two timeouts. I don't remember, to be honest. And IO operations, basically it can be a disk IO, or it can be a network IO. All kind of weights can be considered that as a IO. So all those operations is nothing but it is your Postgres is not utilizing the CPU, but your uh, um, Postgres is waiting for certain operations to happen. So those things has to be considered over the period of time, and that's where I say that performance diagnostics works based with the when you have a long running query, when you have when you're doing analytical queries a lot. So performance diagnostics give you idea where your system is really um, utilizing your system. Okay, so as I said, ADB weights, Postgres performance diagnostics, it uses the ADB weight states extension. So ADB weight states extension at the moment is available only for advanced server 11 plus. We are also planning to do release ADB weight sets for Postgres as well, but it is in class. It is in roadmap and it is going to be released soon. So what EDB weight states do is it probes the so basically there are two things there. One is background worker. So EDB weight states is an extension which runs in the background along with your Postgres and starts as an extension of Postgres so that it can directly read the data from PG statement columns directly from your system, and it probes the each and every session and get the those details like at regular interval. To be precise, 1 second. You can also customize those values. You can the minimum value is a 1 second, which is by default, and it collects basically the database name, username, the query which was running at that particular point of time, and the wait events, as I said. So that gives you idea whether that query was really waiting or it was executing at that particular point of time. So, and wait set interface is nothing but SQL views based, which allows you to read this value from the wait sets and gives you all kind of data like what is the wait set data was there, what are the queries run at that particular point in that session or during the whole period, how many sessions run, because a single query can be run by multiple sessions, so you can have a different sessions there, and the samples gives you the overall the combination of all three. There are other API as well for purging the data as well, so you can customize those things directly from PAM as well. So, yep. So let's move to the demo. Don't worry, I will give you all answers after the session. So let's let's move to the demo first. I'm sharing my other screen. Okay, there you go. I hope you guys can see my VM. So this is my PAM 7.15. So I have 5 agents installed on my system, which collects all the data from the 5 different servers. I have 1 production server, 1 static staging server, 1 testing server, 1 of the console main console, and I have 1 more database server where it is not managed by data by PAM, but it is just registered with PAM, and where my performance diagnostics have been install. So let's first go with the tuning wizard. So I clicked on a management and click on tuning wizard. So as I said, tuning wizard allow performance basic tuning for POSIX installation based on the option and the hardware specifications. So you might want to choose the database server which you want to tune. So I'll choose this, right? And I'll say next. But okay, you may not want to use your testing and that one other servers for development. These two I can testing as a development machine. So I may not use it as a dedicated, but I may use it as a workstation. So yep, so I need to choose basically machine utilization, whether I want to install only database server on that system, or I want to use it as a multiple database, multiple servers. Which I can have a one web server, one database server, like that, or whether it is a regular developer machine. Then you might want to choose the workload section where you want to what kind of queries you will be using, whether it will be analytical data or it is going to be OLTP or it is going to be mixed. So I choose mixed and I dedicated for machine utilization. So in the next, it calculates the data. It gives me idea of what is the value it would like to give. So this has calculated the data and give me the suggestions. So this should be the effective cache on my system. This should be the maintenance workman. This is the wall size, max wall size. This is the random size space, shared buffers. Wall buffers is so the right question says that the parameter is correctly tuned, right? So when I say next, I can actually ask my system to change those parameters itself using PAM agent, or the other option is you can generate the reports and share it with somebody else and get it reviewed before we really do this operation. So let me just generate a report for you, right? So it will generate a report. It will allows you to share this as it is allow you to download this file as well. So you can download this report as well at the time of generation. So this gives information like what is the so I have summary is I have three database servers selected at the time. The machine utilization or dedicated and work profile were mixed. So this is the different values they have. This was the original value and this is the recommended value. Mind it, I have the same system on all of them. So I have created the VM copy of the VM. So I got the same recommendation, but that won't be the case in real-time scenario. So let's move the performance diagnostics. So as I said, performance diagnostics use the ADB wait states, and ADB wait states has to be installed on that system, and that has been loaded in your shared preload library. I have already done that, and let me just run it. That extension is already created in my ADB database because ADB is my maintenance database in my system for PAM, which is mentioned here. And a server properties dialog, you can specify what maintenance database you want to use at the time of registration, or you can change that later on as well. So mind it is running on a OpenStack machine, so it may take some time. So to run the performance diagnostics, I will go to tools, server, performance diagnostics. So because it is running on a Postgres OpenStack and a distance machine, it will take some time to load the data. So I have already opened the Performastix at 2 hours ago. So let me just this will be the look and feel of that. So you can select the time until what you want to choose, for how long the data you want to really analyze, and you can choose up to 1 to 24 hour, and you can specify any time. As far as the data is available, it can go up to any data, any level. So right, so you can this range is you can, so I can see that there is a spike here. I will go to that specific point, and it will load that data in the second chart, right? And you can see different weight events here, where because I'm running a lot of I'm running HammerDB, a lot of queries are HammerDB scripts to generate this kind of data, so that I can give you the demo. So it is utilizing a lot of same queries frequently. So I can see a lot of the lightweight logs, but you cannot do much about that until you are a database internal developer, who can fix those things. And at the moment, based so just to give you a brief idea, Postgres itself has utilized ADB weight sets to analyze certain operations, and they have improved the performance for that in a PG and EPAS 10 based on those findings. So this is, so you might want to ignore that at the moment. So you can see that okay, most of the time your CPU utilization and CPU utilization can be associated with one of your wait events where you have a CPU or IO operations, because even during IO, it takes a lot of, it uses a lot of your CPU. So you can select one of the sample at that point of time, and you will see the wait events in a, so you can see that this many queries were running at that point of time. This query was running from 4 other sessions at the same time. And what was the wait event for each and every one of them? The red one shows the CPU, and green here at the moment shows the IO, and blue is the lightweight log. So if you want to go into details what is happening really over the period of time, you can view the query dashboard, which opens a another page, and give you idea about what this query has, what are the wait events had happened at that particular point of time. So I have already kept some of the wait events samples queries for you. So you can see that this query is mostly utilized CPU and lightweight log, which so there is no much harm here. So it is good to, it is a good query to execute it. Similarly, you will see that in this query as well, not much IO, right? You can also see what kind of wait events was there. So you can actually go look at different type of wait events, the buffer IO, buffer mapping. You can see the CPU data file read. So this query has spent around 3.48% of its time reading the data file and everything. It's spent just 3.34% of time for executing the queries. Most of the time it is waiting for internal buffer IO and buffer mapping. So, and you can in fact go to each and every, if you really want to go into why that was happening and what is happening over the period of time, you can go through these details in this table. So it gives you idea what was the wait event at that particular point, and you can analyze the query wait execution time overall. Similarly, I have also, you can also see the all the queries running the same query, uh, see the session at the same time. You can choose that and load that. Let me just go to the next one until it loads, right? So so this will actually allows you to give you idea that whether you really need to pre-warm your table into the memory or not, or this you can basically analyze this whole wait events and understand the do the analysis if you want to do. Yep. So if you, so okay, one more example is here. I can definitely see that a lot of IO was happening. So I can even see IO was specifically related to data file read. That means this query has spent a lot of time just reading the data from the disk. So that means it is really that table should be does not fit in your memory. So and you have a use data, you might want to partition your table here and minimize your data in a single partition, a child table, and based on your queries or regular, if this query is executed regularly, you can actually and analyze those things, and you can take that decision at that particular point. You can also see the whole query like this. So this will give you, this will, yeah, it is a full query. So yeah, you can see the whole query here. To maximize the screen, we have minimized that at that point of time. So I guess, yes, that's it from performance diagnostics. So I believe I have covered everything that I wanted to talk. So let me stop sharing and go back to my.
Thank you, Ashish. We only actually have slightly more than 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so we actually have quite a lot of questions. So I think I will rather try to answer some questions.
Sure. Let me
Yeah.
just go through the questions. Give me a moment.
Okay, so the YEDB, this slides will be shared with everyone, so please do take a look. Okay, we have actually quite a lot of questions. The first one is, how is PAM different from pgadmin? Please explain the difference.
Right. So to be honest, PAM is based on pgadmin only, but pgadmin only does not support any monitoring capability. So PAM is extended from pgadmin so that we add the capability for PAM. Please, okay.
Okay, next question. Do we need to install PAM? Do we need to install PAM agent for all EDB database servers?
It is recommended, but PAM also allows you to monitor the database server remotely. But again, that it has its own limitations, like because it does not have the operating system metrics, it won't be able to give you the correct. It won't be able to give you tuning advices and all those kind of stuff, and it won't be able to give you capacity idea whether your disk is full or not, whether your how much based on your consumption, whether it is when your disk will be full, and those kind of things won't be possible through without installing the agent. Yes, it is. So in short, your answer is yes, it is possible, but with some limitations, obviously.
Okay, the next question is, what are the important parameters needed to consider for the Postgres extension? For instance, PostGIS from query performance. Should I repeat again?
Yeah, can you please repeat?
Okay.
Because I can't see that question on my system.
Okay, it says, what are the important parameters that are needed to consider for the Postgres extension? So this person dash PostGIS from query performance.
It's Postgres extension is not different from any other extension. So it also executes some. As far as I understand, PostGIS utilizes the allows you to store certain data in a certain particular manner, and then um, allows you to so you can analyze or do the performance monitoring same as other Postgres queries as well. So PostGIS is not something different from any other Postgres queries. So I hope I answered
Okay.
your question.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, can I use PAM for monitoring AWS console?
Yeah, so you can use your PAM agent to monitor PAM RDS console or EC2. We have not yet researched whether you can utilize you can monitor your Azure console or not, because we are still working on that. So yeah, in short, you can monitor your AWS console remotely using remote monitoring of capability of PAM.
A related question to this question is, how many database instances PAM can monitor?
To be honest, PAM utilizes the database server as a storage for a storage, and so it is definitely limit. Uh, just give you an example. One of our customer is already having more than 1,500 database servers monitored at that particular point time, because he has a huge hardware. It comes with so again it depends on how much hardware is provided provided in your for your storing the data. It is limited to that one only. As far as your database backend database server is allowing you to create connections to database, it can monitor any number of database server.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashish. We are just 1 minute away from the top of the hour, so maybe just one last question. Can you please share how we can prepare jobs and scheduler through PAM?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat
Okay,
that?
can you please share how we can prepare jobs and scheduler through PAM?
Okay, so basically you can use so PAM uses a PAM agent to execute and schedule any jobs. You can schedule any shell script, batch script, or you can also execute any kind of queries which is monitored or bound to that agent. So, and it is not different, something different from PG agent, but obviously apart from PG agent, it has a lot more capabilities like collecting the monitoring aspect, sending the data, sending the notification for alert and everything. So it is similar to PG agent, but quite different from, had a lot more enhancement.
Okay, thank you, Ashish, and thank you everyone for staying on. I'm afraid that this is all the questions we can answer. However, those questions that are not answered on this live session, we will answer them via email and post it on the landing page. So thank you once again, and please check out the slide deck when we send it to you, as well as the recording, because there are some contact details should you need to contact EDB if you have questions. So once again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you joining us again for our other webinar in the future. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day. Thank you, Violet, for
Bye.
the
Thanks.
opportunity.
Bye.
Bye-bye.